This video is about Flexbox. I have made a lot of notes which I learned about Flexbox in this Flexbox Zombies course. Currently the time is this. I am making this video at this timestamp. So we are going to revise all these notes. It is not much as it looks. It's very simple. We will see. These are the properties. Display flex, this is the first property. We need to give this to the any HTML element to make that a flex container. Next property is flex direction row. This is a default property. Mm. Also note that this line, that any value that is given in the heading, that is the default property. If you don't give that, but displays default property is block actually or maybe HTML element dependent, but for other properties all these properties in the headings are the default. And in bracket parent or children, it just mentions to what type of element the property is assignable to. So flex direction, this is default property. I mean row is the default value for this property. These are the other properties that we can use. Justify content, it just aligns the alignment of children in the flexbox parent. The default is this flex start. The other values are this flex and center, space between, space around. Align item is, so this direction is the main axis. This we need to understand actually. And this is the defines alignment of children in the main axis. Align item defines the it defines the alignment in the cross axis perpendicular to the main axis. Main axis is defined by flex direction property. Align self is the property which is assigned to all the children, and by default the property is inherited from the align items given to the parent. That's what it's mentioned here. It's assigned to parent. Align self is for children. So we can apply following values to align items and align self. This is how different values for align items or align self works for the children. So by default the value of flex wrap is no wrap, that is we have a single we have a single row only. This is another property that we will check on later. So I think this property needs to go in the align content actually. Yeah. So I'm also explaining here about the align content as well, because it is very much linked to the flex wrap, that both of these properties are given to the crossbow itself. Or maybe I can just remove this from here. This is assigned to parent, and this is what it does. And we might want to highlight this. So when we assign FlexWrap, we can we can say to the Flexbox that we want multiple lines. They are literally referred as lines technically. So I can explain. This is the Flexbox, so all our elements would be placed like here, and when we define FlexWrap, the elements, if they have enough space, they will make multiple lines like this. So this is how it works. Like when we give FlexWrap, our elements can wrap into multiple lines, and these lines are parallel to the main axis. We are considering the direction here is row. Also, if the direction was column, the lines would be vertical, that is parallel to the main axis. So these are some values that we can that work together to make elements appear like this. So flex direction row and wrap make the third and fourth element go to the next line. These are the other values, very simple. Very interesting that if we use wrap reverse, the line by default first line appears at top and then second line to the bottom, but if we use wrap reverse, the first line appears at the bottom and then other lines go to the top of below lines. This is a very interesting insight that you can read. This is just, if you are just interested in takeaway, you can simply read this line only. Also justify content, this works with FlexWrap wrap as well, very interesting, and it is interesting. So these are another case. This is yet another case that you can read out if you feel like interesting. Very interesting tips. We will learn about FlexRow in a second for sure. Next is align content. So align content is very interesting. This is very interesting. Using align content is only useful when the parent has FlexWrap, else you would need to use align items to align the items in the cross axis. Also, cross axis is just perpendicular to the mean axis, which mean axis is defined by flex row, flex direction. If it is row, column, yeah. Here is the definition of align content. And this we just learned. So I think we can just remove this because we already covered in this line. And the default property is stretch. So the line stretch to fill the container because align content stretch is the default value. That's what it is. And we can give following values to align content. This is very interesting. So it just says that if you want to use multiple lines, and in that we want to make use of align items property, the line content must be set to its default value, that is stretch. Otherwise the line items won't work. That is this. Align content is if, I think I need to put it in here. If a line content is not set to its default value, is not set to its default value stretch, then setting any value to line property doesn't work. It's just a different way of saying about this line only. So another interesting thing, very simple, regular, a normal thing. So here we covered few things. So let's go to part 2. In part 2 we are going to learn about flex grow, flex shrink and flex spaces. Very simple things. So by default all elements do not grow in, for example, considering we have flex section row, so no, 0 is the default value, so no element grow more than its flex spaces value, or we can say width if it is flex direction, or maybe height if the flex direction is column. So we just read this and it is assigned to children. Very simple. Now so if you want, like if you have two elements or maybe more than elements, but considering we have two elements and we give proportion 1:2 like this, flex row 1 and flex row 2, then the growing of the children would be like this, like in this 1:2 proportion. So here we learn about flex shrink. So it is also applied to the children to make them shrink, and the default value is 1. That is, by default all elements in the flex box shrink at the same proportion. Here is the definition of this. There's a video demonstration of this as well, that if you like you can check it out. Next is some points to remember, and we'll just cover this out. Setting Flexbox flex shrink to 2, make a child will make that particular child to shrink twice as other items, because flex shrink by 1 is the default value of any other child. Very simple. Next we have, if you give same value of flex shrink to all children, maybe 2 to 2 or 1 1 1, then all elements shrink at the same ratio, because it's all about just the ratios at the end. So we can make any particular child to refuse to shrink by setting flex shrink to 0, which is the default flex shrink value. So very simple. Next is we have flex bases. So default value of flex base is auto. Auto here, and what does auto mean? Here's a very beautiful explanation. Auto here means child's length in main axis inherits from child's own width when flex direction is row, or height property when flex direction is column. In case the flex section is, I can add it in case here, in case flex section is column. Very simple. Apply flex bases to children, not to crossbow itself. Very simple. Flex bases assigned to children, the default value is auto, and we just, I think we don't need to repeat it over here, because this is what we defined here. I think maybe we can simply say it. That it is default value simply here. So next, flex spaces changes the size of the items in the direction of the main axis. Very simple. If we give 300 pixel, it works as height. If the flex direction is column, if it works as width, if the flex direction is row. Very simple. We can give it other values like we give to width or height, any measuring unit that is possible to do in HTML. Next is flex spaces. Flex spaces defines the starting size of the item before any space is distributed by flex grow or taken away by flex shrink. Very simple. It is the initial value that is given to any element. Think of it as initial width or height depending on the flex direction that the item wants to be. Another way of saying this line, it is a new improved version of CSS height width property of the children of the flex. Very cool. This is how we assign flex bases, and also here it says that flex basis takes precedence over width property here, and we can add considering flex direction is row. Maybe we can just avoid it putting a cross here. So here are some points to remember about flex spaces. Min width and max width also apply to flex space in the same way as they work with width property to restrict the minimum shrinking and maximum growing in the main axis for that child. Very simple. Also vice versa for the flex spaces works with min height and max height in case the flex direction is column. Very simple. Next here is flex spaces can be used to set the percentage length of total size of the container to set its width or height when the flex direction is column, just like we use percentage values with width height properties otherwise. For example, if we want to set flex basis 50% to one item of the flex, then that item takes 50% of the width of the flex container considering flex direction row. So we are going to next property, order. Order simply means what it generally means, that it is the sequence. Any The default value is 0, at all children has 0 value, and then it is assigned to children. Obviously default is 0. The elements in the flex are order in ascending order, lower first higher last. Also it can have negative values. Very simple.